Good evening. Good evening. How are you out there? Welcome to a different day for folks talking sports. It's a Saturday, not a Sunday. I am Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Joining me is someone I have not seen in a while, Miss Kennetra Pulliams. How are you, ma'am?
Kris, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thank you for taking time to join me. And I'm going to put her on the spot right now. She doesn't know this. She might have forgot. But hopefully, Kennetra will squeeze me into her busy schedule and she'll become a somewhat regular contributor to the growing, expanding days of Folks Talking Sports of FTS. So it won't just be Sunday, one day a week. It'll be more than that. I am not getting rid of Willie Gibson, so don't worry about that. Okay, it's the media group. The media group is expanding, and I have to get someone knowledgeable from a female perspective, and who I don't know too many others better than Miss Pulliams. Okay, let's talk. Well, how much of the Olympics have you watched?
A lot. I try to watch as much as possible, whether it's live or streaming, on Peacock or replays. Just finished watching the women's 100-meter finals.
Okay,
Like
and what are your thoughts on that? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Hey, if it couldn't be Sha'Carri, then I'm glad it was Julian Alfred.
Why you say that? From St. Lucia.
Because she won the Bowerman Award as a dynamic sprinter from the University of Texas. She still lives in Austin and trains in Austin. So, I love the support that her entire country gave her and celebrated her. But also, knowing that she's got Texas ties.
Yeah, I forgot that about you. There's a lot of things I love about you, KP. That's one thing I don't love about you is your ties to the University of Texas and the Longhorns.
Hey,
but it's okay.
Hey,
You can't.
The Cougars. Hey, they hold their own on the track.
You can't be perfect. So you lose one coup point, but that's okay. You're still a queen, so it's all good. All right. What else has impressed you? Who else has impressed you in the Olympics so far?
Watched the way that the U.S. women's soccer team, battled in extra time against Japan today in the quarterfinals, and fortunate to be able to play a ball in the box, off the foot of Trinity Rodman, and she's been very consistent throughout these Olympic games. So I'm glad that the U.S. team was able to get past Japan in that one. Watched some basketball, watched a lot of swimming. Definitely watched gymnastics. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the training facility, at the gym up in spring, now that Cecile Landy is going to take over the University of Georgia gymnastics program.
Right. And I'll ask you, it is awesome to witness the greatness of Katie Ledecky and Simone Biles simultaneously.
Right.
Just your thoughts on, because that's what I hate the term GOAT, because I guess they could be GOATs in the respective sports, but these two women are just sensational. So just your thoughts on them.
I think what's impressive, not just the winning, because you could say like the most impressive Olympic Games would probably belong to Leon Marchand, the swimmer from France. Just the way that he's like literally left everybody in his wake. But the sustained excellence of Katie Ledecky and Simone Biles, that is what is impressive. It's not like, oh, I just had a great Olympic Games, a great 2 weeks, a great 16 days, but to be able to do it year in and year out, and it's not just one event. To be able to do it in different events really shows how immensely talented these athletes are.
We have not talked about it. Yesterday was official, August 2nd. The Big 12 welcomed the Four Corner schools to the conference.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah being members of the Big 12?
I mean, we've already seen with the location of, football media days, in Vegas. So it's just, whether Jerry World was full or whether it, was Yormark's way of, trying to embrace or roll out the Big 12 carpet, to the new member schools, we'll see. But, now I will be interested to see how all the travel goes. Not so much for football, but like for the Olympic sports, the games on Tuesday nights and games on Thursday nights, and just trying to go across 4 time zones.
Basketball, volleyball, those sports. It's all about the student assets. Oops.
Mhm.
The student athletes. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Football makes college sports go round. Any thoughts, or what are your thoughts on lawsuits? Florida State, Clemson, the ACC. How do you think that's going to end?
I haven't given it much thought, because it's just like, hey, they want to cry and complain and they were wronged and, hurt feelings, but, we'll see. I mean, I do think eventually it's going to become 4 super conferences, in the landscape of, I'm not going to say NCAA, of college athletics. So, I think that's how,
4 or 3 or 2?
I say 4.
So you think the ACC will survive?
Who knows what it's going to be named?
Okay. So you're going that. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. I just think I think 4 teams, 4 teams of 20, 4 teams of 16.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on revenue sharing in college athletics, semi-pro sports?
That is so hard, because then it's like Title IX compliant, and then having to, the distribution isn't equal. The haves and the have-nots, the power conferences versus the mid-majors. Like how do you divvy everything up to where the backup long snapper is making more money than the starting point guard on the women's basketball team?
That will happen at some schools, some programs. You're getting back to your reactions or thoughts about the FSU Clemson lawsuits, realignment. They are making money for the folks who the podcasters who put out content for that daily, to say nothing, basically commenting on a rumor, commenting on some unnamed person,
speculation. Sources say,
and it's important. But more important to me, and I think fans should wonder about it, ask about it, be concerned about it, is how their favorite university, their favorite alma mater, is going to pay for revenue sharing. Is going to pay the athletes this 22, 23, 24, 25, $30 million per year for the next 10 years, rather than will FSU join the Big 12?
Right. And then, so then you factor in, revenue sharing, and then how do you calculate the formula of how does NIL play in with how much money said athlete or said program makes?
And the NCAA now has their own NIL umbrella, and where they will handle the NIL for athletes if they opt into it. I think that's a mistake. I don't, because if you're an athlete, you're already an athlete in college, you have your own agency representation. They could probably do a better job of it than the NCAA to avoid conflicts of interest and those things. But, what do I know about all those things? I'm just somebody been doing this 30 years. But anyway.
Yeah. Then pass the smell test?
Not for me. And I hope a lot of young men and women ask questions. That's one thing folks don't do.
See, that's the thing, though. For these, not all of these athletes are financially savvy, nor do they have people with integrity representing and or advising them on how to leverage their name, image, and likeness, how to protect themselves and their brand, how to pay the taxes on the money they make, how to invest and make sure that once their college career is over, they still have money, because, majority of them won't go pro. So like, there's a lot of things, instead of people like pretending to look out for these athletes, but at the same time, they have their hand out because they want to cut. So
are you happy with your Nova Knicks?
Very much so. I am indeed.
Tell me why. I don't think they're a championship team. They got a lot of Nova players, but good for them.
I mean, that's true. Like, because college basketball is not NBA. Yeah, from a personal standpoint, yes, I like the composition of the roster. Now that we have, 4 players, 4 Nova players on the team, but yeah, like, are they taking that next step, to make because that's the thing, is like, you can't play Jalen Brunson, that many minutes, and you can't play Josh Hart that many minutes. And it's just like, is there, enough ball, to go around? And I mean, you look at, just the minutes that Mikal Bridges played with the Nets, on a bad team, so, how do you make the minutes work? How do you share the ball? And how do you, kind of get to the Eastern Conference Finals? How do you get to the NBA Finals and actually challenge and win that thing?
Question for you from the audience, from a loyal follower and supporter, C837. What are your thoughts on Texas to the SEC and expectations for year one in the conference for?
I love it. I think they've shown, and not just in football, I think across the entire landscape of athletics within the University of Texas Athletic Department, I think they are positioned very well to compete, for championships, not just conference championships, but, NCAA championships as well. You got a, new tennis coach. You got a new swim coach. You get Michael Phelps' coach, from Arizona State as in that, your new swim coach, to replace the legendary, Eddie Reese. So I like how they are positioned.
Baseball coach too.
And I'm sure there's still a lot of hurt feelings down the road in College Station, about that one. But it is what it is.
And Coach Sarkisian, they have talent. Okay, it's not just like previous Longhorn teams, football teams, where they were 5 stars because of Texas. Okay, they have talented players. So unlike some teams, they're ready to compete in the SEC.
Sure.
I'm not sure if they're going to be the best team in the SEC, but they're going to do well. I don't see them struggling their first year in football.
There's not a slow build up. You look at how they left the Big 12 with, as many conference titles, as many national titles, winning the Capital One, Directors Cup on the women's side. So, they are talented, across the board. It wasn't that way in year one under Sark. It took a lot of recruiting and scouring the transfer portal to cohesively build a roster, that could compete, that is ready, and everyone's like, well, what about Arch? Like, he didn't come to sit the bench, and Sark has said, Arch is going to play. It's like the way that it is now. It's like the quarterback room is talented, the receiver room is talented. They have protection on the line. Because as we saw last year and year before that, one hit, you lose a quarterback, the next guy can't be wide-eyed and not know to come in. I mean, especially in the SEC. So there are a lot of expectations, and I think Texas is ready to back up, what they did last year, making the playoffs.
I have not. I don't know if you have with this one regarding Matthew Golden, wide receiver, left Houston to go to Austin. I have not heard anything how he's doing up there. I need to ask.
I have not heard.
To the legend Kirk Bowles or colleague Cedric Golden, ask them, see how Matthew is doing. I'll work on that CA37. I'll see if they can give me some feedback. Oh, maybe Sam Kahn knows. I can ask Sam about that too. So those are my sources, KP. I'm gonna tell you some of the people I know.
Okay.
Rather than just sources tell me that.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Anyway, but of course there are some sources that I won't ever tell because
you protect your sources, but you don't hide behind that word.
Right. And to that end, add a little bit. I mentioned this on Thursday on lunch break regarding the Houston Cougars Texas A&M men's basketball exhibition game.
Mm-hmm.
It most likely will take place at 4:00 on Sunday, October 27th at Texas Southern's H&P Arena. This in discussions to have it aired on the SEC network, which I think is available on most of the major, what is it now? Satellite distributors, cable distributors,
multimedia,
linear. CA37. Do you have the SEC network? Let me know. I'm just curious, folks watching on YouTube and Facebook about. I have it at home, but of course I'll be at the game. So, but let's see, Mr. Tran, how are you? Chiming in from the West Coast. But so that's an update regarding the Cougars Aggies exhibition game. It's in the works. I'm going to say this: Tran has the SEC network. I love my school, y'all know it. I'm a proud UH alum, but I'm also critical when it's warranted and needed.
I mean, you can be a fan, you can be an alumni, but you can also be objective.
Yes, and CA says so. Tran has it. CA does not have it. KP, guess what?
What?
My alma mater, as of August 2nd, has not finalized the ticket plan ways for fans to order tickets
for spring
for the game for the game in October, for the exhibition game in October. They have not done that, and the ticketing office. Oh, let's just say it's understaffed. I'll put it like that. It's understaffed. I won't get into details of why, but it's just not a good look. Big 12 program, Big 12 university.
Does it surprise you?
Not at all. It disappoints me.
Right.
Nothing my school does surprises me anymore. But the fact that they can still disappoint me and things like that just bothers me to no end. But yeah, so
I mean, how I like I said, I haven't really followed. How's the AD search going?
Huh. Let's see. This is August 3rd. I hope that they have someone in place by August 31st.
No names, no finalists,
no finalists. No. I hope. I haven't reached out. I spent so much time trying to get the info on basketball, and
maybe that's why the ticket packages haven't been released.
Well, that is no AD was a reason for the slowdown in agreeing to the game against Auburn that would take place in November at Toyota Center.
Mm-hmm.
They finally had someone in management to sign off on the contract. That was a delay of months. So it's a problem. Tran says this. Tran, I don't know if Tran is Jeremiah Dickey's agent, but he pushed for Jeremiah Dickey on Thursday's show, and he's pushing Jeremiah Dickey for today's show. Mm. And Jeremiah Dickey's not a bad person, not a bad candidate for the job. At the time of 2 weeks ago, UH had not even spoken to him about the job. I'm assuming, and I hope that has changed in the last 2 weeks, last week or so. because he is qualified and he has ties to UH and he has ties to the city, ties to the area. It almost makes too much sense for him not to get the job, which gives you an indication of what Houston is doing and how they think in the process and the money offers that they have thought about making and the small contract or the short contract offers that they're thinking about doing. So it would just make you shake your head. If I'll tell you off the air,
okay,
about it. But folks who have followed UH athletics and see how they have couged it so many times, you would not be surprised. You would just shake your head and how a big time program, a big time school, and a big time power conference continues to act like they're an NAIA program.
Why? I mean, like, you went NAIA, not just like mid-major, not just independent, but like you went not D2.
No, one other alum told me junior high.
Wow.
So I try to go a little bit higher NAIA. So yeah, that's what we are dealing with in there. To borrow from Willie Gibson, hustling backwards.
Because like, isn't that the thing though? Usually when you dismiss the person in the position, you kind of already have a working list or the search firm that you're using kind of has the short list.
You would think so, right? You would think so. Yes. Right. That's what
competency.
I think. Right. I think CA 37 or maybe Rex brought that up in a last week on a lunch break. Yeah, apparently not. No. So I just shake my head and I cover them and as best I can, and I'll praise them when needed and critique them when needed and keep it moving. So, but yes, that's where things are with that. I don't know. Let's see, trends going now. Hunter Yurchek was good. He was good. Coach Sampson speaks highly of Hunter Yurchek and what Hunter did, before he left for Arkansas. But yeah, I'll wait for it to happen. Spring football practice, fall practice has started for Coach Fritz and Rice.
Yeah,
Rice was Friday and Coach Fritz was Thursday, I think. I'll hope to be out there, probably on the weekend, see how things go. But it's just football's here, and the football start means for me that basketball is right around the corner. That's all it means for me.
You're already looking forward to October.
Yes, very much so. I'm already making plans for Big 12 Media Day for the Big 12 tip-off in Kansas City in October. So that's what I'm doing. So, hey, yes, the Houston Roundball Review is a media group, but that's why I have AD Moore for football, and I'll get somebody else for baseball, and I'll just focus on the basketball, men's and women's basketball. Speaking of, Mr. Trad, this might interest you, and KP might interest you as well. South Carolina women's basketball will have a non-conference game in the state of Texas in December. And guess the opponent.
In the state of Texas.
In December.
U of H?
Please. I wish. It'd be a beatdown among epic beatdowns, but no.
Is it against a Texas school, or is it just a neutral site game being played in Texas?
A Texas school.
Texas Tech?
Nope. You're getting close. You're in the right conference.
So out west, TCU?
Yes. South Carolina, TCU, December 8th. Sunday, part of I don't know why they call it a classic. It's because it's a one game. It's the only game for that classic. But yes, Sunday, December 8th, 6 p.m., South Carolina versus TCU. Yes. So Haley Van Lith and the Horned Frogs going against.
Is it at American Airlines Arena, or is it on campus?
It'd be at Dickies.
Okay.
Dickies Arena. Yep. Tickets go on sale maybe 2 weeks, something like that. August. I want to say either the 14th or the 21st, something like that. But yeah. But I probably would go, but that 6 p.m. start on a Sunday, that just makes kind of, I could drive up if it was earlier than drive back same day, but I'm too old to drive back late at night on Sunday that far away. So, but yes, just putting that out there for you. But folks, this is Kennetra Pulliams. We keep in touch. We met at
Big 12
tip off.
Yep.
And then I invited you on the lunch break with AJ, right? I think that's how it worked, right?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Tran, bless you. Bless you. Now he's typing Ron needs to hit a home run in recruiting, referring to head coach Ronald Huey from the Houston Cougars and women's basketball. Yeah, he needs to. It's nice to put out there in the universe.
Recruiting, but that's the thing is like, person he recruits or players he recruits, will he be given enough time to develop those players?
I sure hope not. I hope his time is up.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not just recruiting, like you better hit the portal and have somebody with experience who could play right away.
I hope his time is up at the end of this season. That's what I maintain that. And that, let me say this, it would not shock me. It would disappoint me greatly, but it would not shock me if Houston brought him back for another year or two. Make it 12, 13, and 14. This is his 11th season. This will be his 11th season.
I think a lot of it depends on who the new AD is and what the new AD's vision is.
Well, agreed. And the new AD's vision should be to win and compete for championships in the Big 12. Immediately, like the president, Renew Couture, has said publicly, and then has backtracked on those words. But Big Thrillo, how are you doing? Thank you. A Texas Southern alum, played football there at TSU. But new AD typically brings in the new people, new coaches. Mm-hmm. If Coach Huey's contract is up, like I have been told that it ends May 31st, then there shouldn't be any discussion about him coming back with a new AD. Should that even be a question?
And you would think, read between the lines, if they don't extend them throughout the course of the season, like, all right, we're good.
Agreed.
You're playing on an expiring contract.
But again,
and what has he done to
nothing?
I would say to earn
nothing.
Finishing 500.
No. And he won't finish 500 this year, second year in the Big 12. No, I'd be shocked. I'd love to be wrong. I would love for UH women's basketball to be 500 in conference play. I'm not talking about non-conference games and who, those won't be.
The bye games?
Yeah, no. Who would I like as a replacement? I'll put this up. I have a list. Okay?
Which is more than the powers that be.
Yes.
As far as AD goes.
But I will say this. My list has not grown because coaches have reached out to me and said, Kris, and they ask me now, they don't say, Kris, they ask me, are they serious about women's basketball?
Fair question.
And that's what I say back to them. And I say, honestly, I doubt it. And then they'll say, well, based on who they get now as an ex-AD, maybe I'll think about it. But until they show they are serious about women's basketball, I'm not going to consider it. And I say, I respect that and understand it. So that is the state of Houston Cougars women's basketball.
What, from the insider's perspective, which women's team is the most competitive? I'm not gonna say the best, but just the most competitive.
In what, the city?
No, which U of H women's team?
Oh, volleyball.
Okay.
Volleyball. Yeah, no question. Coach Rear that program is rolling, and they're even having, I think, their inaugural team fundraising dinner. I think basically within, on August 16th. And they reached out to alums. I even got an invite. And I'm like, ooh, how about this? So, yep. on 2 email addresses that they sent it to me. So I'm like, so I might consider going. I might have to RSVP because I think it's approaching for the deadline. So now that I think about that, but volleyball for sure. Track is a little further behind than I thought.
Respectable.
It's more respectable than women's basketball, which is not saying a lot. Softball is a disaster. Oh, volleyball, then swimming and diving.
Okay.
Yes. And they did sign the swimming and diving coach to an extension, I think a 3-year deal, because they finished second in the Big 12.
Okay.
First year in the Big 12. So it is possible.
Behind who?
I won't say. Some team. I forget who it is. It's somebody.
But a team that's no longer in the Big 12?
Well, yeah. So yeah, there you go, right there.
So hey, so you're saying there's a chance.
So there's a chance. But the success of volleyball, the success of women's swimming and diving are 2 examples that it is possible in women's athletics at Houston to have success in the first year of the Big 12. I'm just saying it was possible. Just saying that. President Couture, Tilman Fertitta. Just saying it was possible. Just so. But anyway, I digress on that. But yeah, I have coaches. I've had a list. I've had Hall of Fame coaches who've retired and give me a list of folks who would no train. I didn't say I said track. They just have not done as well as those 2 programs. Who have given me candidates. Potential candidates, but it goes back to it, Kris. If they're not serious about women's basketball, why should I consider the job? I got a good job here where I am, So I understand. Yeah,
right. Why would you leave a good thing to be on the hot seat immediately?
Yeah. So that's where it is, and it's gotten to a point that our discussion right now, me, you, and the viewers, is the most I have talked about UH women's basketball probably in the last month. And going forward, I won't talk about them beyond probably until Big 12 tip-off. Tip-off. I won't talk about it. I know the non-conference schedule is not finalized. They're waiting on, I think, one more team to return the signed contract. They are playing at Rice. I know that matchup is scheduled. That's probably going to be a loss. And another game, I think they're going to be in a tournament in New Orleans, I think New Orleans around the week of Thanksgiving. So the schedule is, trickling in here and there, but nothing official yet because they're waiting for that last team to send in their signed contract. But beyond that, I'm not going to talk about them. I got TSU schedule yesterday, Wednesday. I announced it on Thursday on the lunch break. I've already had Rice's schedule. Allowed to talk about Houston Christian's schedule, non-conference schedule. So you get the idea. So I've talked about 3 of the teams already, non-conference schedule. The last one is my alma mater. Go figure that. But anyway, Cheryl Swoops is not a Caitlin Clark hater. She is not. That's a topic for another discussion there. We won't get into all of those kind of things. She made some mistakes, and she did acknowledge the mistakes, unlike some folks who can never admit that they're wrong. And you know who I'm talking about. I wouldn't have to say who that is. But KP, is there anything else you want to say on this kind of brief edition? This is the start of future shows.
Yeah, it's a summer edition.
It's the summer edition of FTS with Miss Kennetra Pulliams. There was something else I wanted to talk to you about, and I forgot what it was. Your thoughts on, since Tran brought it up roundabout, where did you stand on Caitlin Clark not being on the women's team?
I like the explanation given by Dawn Staley, who was part of the committee to select, who represented the U.S. At the time that the selection was made, Caitlin was not playing at the level that she's playing now. Also, when they had the training, because a lot of the other international teams, they've been together for a while.
Right.
But due to commitments, whether it's NCAA, WNBA, or playing overseas, the composition of the U.S. roster, they haven't been together, both men and women, they haven't been together, a long time to be able to build that cohesiveness, to be able to play, at the top level, because there is a level of expectation. It's not just good enough now just to line up and expect that the U.S. is just going to be handed a gold medal.
Right.
Teams have gotten better to challenge the women. So Caitlin took the high road and said, there's a lot of time left. There will be other, especially, hey, if she can make her U.S. Olympic debut in LA in 4 years, but yeah, because that's the thing. It's like, hey, so you put Caitlin on, who do you leave off?
The one person who at the time was a question because of her injury status was Chelsea Gray.
Mm-hmm.
And Chelsea, I think she's still trying to get back to her point guard status.
Right.
So she hasn't played well. So, up to her level.
Mm-hmm.
Diana Taurasi is a legend.
Mm-hmm.
So she was going to be on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't played a lot, which is all right. And they're still winning. So, but Chelsea Gray probably would have been the one because of her injury status, her foot status at that time. Kalia Copper, if you don't know about her, that's a problem.
I don't think it was like we're gonna put Caitlin Clark in her place. We're gonna show you. We're gonna send a message. Hey rookie, you got to earn your keep. Like, no, it's just like the level of women's basketball is exceptionally high, and it's just like there's a finite number of roster spots, and because of Iowa making it to the NCAA championship game, it prevented her from participating in USA basketball's camp.
Right.
She said, if I don't make it to the Final Four, then yeah, I'll participate in camp. So, I think it's only fair. You can't expect, hey, hold a spot for me.
Yeah, and that's what folks wanted. Yeah.
No.
Let's hold a spot.
No. You gotta earn.
You gotta earn it at some point, right? Some of these same folks who say that they want folks to earn their keep, earn their job, earn their spots, but then you're talking out the other side of your mouth when you just say, "Well, they just should have held a spot for."
Right. And then the same way that they're like, oh, she broke the record, but did she really? Because you don't count Lynette Woodard's points. She broke the NCAA record, but you don't count the career scoring points that all of what Lynette Woodard did in college. Like, why isn't that really the official record?
Yeah, the NCAA, they kind of pick and choose what records they want
because
acknowledge.
For Tara Vanderveer, they counted all of her wins even before NCAA. So why do they count her wins as a coach, but not Lynette Woodard's wins as a player?
Right. And Enrique, Ogunwale, same thing. Mm-hmm. Enrique, she's kind of given up on being on the team, but that's why she gave them buckets in the All-Star game. So, hey,
right.
The U.S. women's team will be fine. They play tomorrow, I think. The men's team won today, beat Puerto Rico. They're the 1 seed in the
struggled in the first quarter, but that's
quarterfinals. Okay. Puerto Rico got hot from three, made 5 threes in that first quarter, and then they came back down to earth in the rest of the game. And the men's team played better defense and the ball movement, cut down on the turnovers somewhat, and won by 20 points. And they're going to play Brazil in the quarterfinals, the knockout round, and they should beat Brazil, and keep advancing. I think a lot of folks are kind of looking forward to seeing a potential USA Canada meeting. That'd be fun to watch there. The Olympics, I have not watched much of the Olympics. The basketball game, the men's and women's games, a little bit here and there. I'm not sure why that is. When I was younger, I would you couldn't, man, Olympics was on TV. I'd be right there in front of the TV.
Also, I was talking about this with a friend. The fact that, back in the day, it was only on one channel. Now it's on 5.
So
plus streaming.
Right. I found it on USA.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 I think the ETV has it,
Mm-hmm.
NBC,
Mm-hmm.
to, I guess, alternate channels. That's what it is on Uverse. They call them like Olympic channels, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
them, whatever.
Yep.
And then, of course, Peacock has everything.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You can watch the picture in the picture. You can watch, what do they call it? Gold, going for gold or whatever. So you can have your four events. But then it's also on Telemundo, so like,
Right. It's so.
and then plus the time, and then the time difference,
then,
like, hey,
and then they re-air some of it as well. So
in prime time, but it's like, so like you either have to stay off social media or stay off and then pretend like you don't know what's going to happen, and then turn it on at 6:30 and okay, let's watch it as if I don't know.
These Olympics are just another example of how technology, television, streaming has changed. Because 20 years ago, as you said, the Olympics were on like one channel. You didn't have all these other channels.
And networks. You also didn't have you didn't have breakdancing.
Right. Have you watched any of that? Has that started yet?
No, I don't know. I haven't watched breakdancing. And then there are all these other events. Like, back in the day, we didn't have the mixed medley relay 4x4.
I knew nothing about that until today.
Like what? Wait, what? The thing I learned today, I learned yesterday, they kind of had what's the equivalent of like the playing round, for the 100. Like, what is that? So like you qualify by your country standards, but you don't have the IOC qualification time. So we're going to have this run in, 4 heats of this run in so that you can advance to the preliminary round. Same thing now. It's like the repargé for the 1,500 meters. Like, what? So now it's just like,
I saw that
last chance
on the screen. Yeah, I was like, because I had the phone was on mute at that point, and I was like, why does it say represent? I think it was 2 of 2, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, and they're doing it in every distance, including the hurdles up to the. I'm like, what? Like, as if there aren't enough races as it is. But let me run. Oh, I didn't qualify. Okay, so now I'm going to run to make it. I'm like,
I thought about this as the repargé was taking place. In any of the long distance runs,
yeah,
I wonder, and I'm not trying to be racial or controversial, but the rabbit, the person that jumps out,
pace setter.
Thank you, pace setter. Does that person get paid well to be the pace setter?
Yeah,
because more times than not, that person doesn't finish in the top, whatever.
They jump off the track.
So do they get paid well for that? Like your role is you're gonna be the pace setter. Okay, am I gonna get paid for it? Of course. So I just thought about that.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I'm like, to me, there's too many. Like, how do you have, you have breakdancing and you have skateboarding and you have kiting. What? But you don't have women's softball in the Olympics.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It makes sense.
There's too many like horse events.
Thurlow says the athletes don't get paid.
No, the athletes they broke it down. Well, the medalists I know get paid.
So yeah, if you got sponsors, you get paid.
Yeah, look at who was it? The U.S. athlete, I think discus thrower or whatever. She tweeted out. Power social media tweeted out yesterday that she's representing the U.S. in the Olympics, but can't even pay her rent this month.
Yeah,
but then so many people liked it and retweeted it, but no one, as many people who responded to it did not step up until Alexis Ohanian jumped in and so now her rent's paid for the rest of the year. So somebody tagged him. So he put his money where his mouth was, and then tagged in Flavor Flav, who of course has been publicly sponsoring the women's water polo team.
Excellent. See, that's what I need. I need folks like that because I spent most of this summer hearing from people and companies and alums. Oh yeah, Kris, I'll support you, man. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. And then they don't come through.
Yeah. You say that.
Yeah. And then, this, yeah, how much is, oh, yes, that's nothing, man. Yeah. And then nothing. Okay. But All right. So there was something else I wanted to talk to you about before we wrapped it up, and I think it was about the Olympics or whatever, and maybe it wasn't. I don't know what it was. Anything else you want to say? If it'll pop in my head. If not, we'll bring it up another time.
Dang,
Oh, yeah. Well, this is not the question, but have you been watching any of the TBT?
No.
I was quick too. You responded with the quickness on that one. No.
Oh.
Well, that's.
I mean, I know what.
No. Yeah, it's no worries, because I was just going to say, if a Houston alumni team was not in it right now, I wouldn't be watching it. This is the 11th year of TBT.
Are we down to the Final Four?
Final two now. Championship game is Sunday. The Forever Cougs against, what is it? Carmen's Crew, to the Ohio State alum. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Willie Gibson, if you're watching, we need to talk, Willie Gibson.
There you go.
My alma mater against your alma mater. Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock on Fox. If the Cougs win, you gotta buy a FTS mug. Right here, Willie Gibson, gotta buy you an FTS mug. If the Cougs lose, you don't have to buy an FTS mug. So there you go with that. Like, I'll play that. But yes, the Cougs playing the first year in the event. They're 5-0, 5 for 5. They're playing for $1 million. Game is on Fox. Big Fox, as I like to say. Big Fox, 1 o'clock Central Time against Carmen's Crew, who I want to say is like the 6th seed from their region. And the Cougs are the 2 seed from the Houston region. So Carmen's Crew is knocked off, higher seeded teams. They beat La Familia, the Kentucky Wildcats alums. What do you know? Because I don't know. What is it? How did they come up with that name, La Familia, for Kentucky? I don't know, but
I don't know.
But it's salute to the UH fans who have gotten hyped up behind Forever Cougs and their run to the championship game. Rob Gray with the game-winning bucket yesterday. In my tweet, I put in my tweet, has got a lot, more than most of my posts there on Twitter, because I don't spend much time on there anymore. But I typed Rob M.F.N. Gray with the pull-up jumper. So that's been a success. But it has drawn interest. It's got people talking about what they can do next to bring it back next year to Houston for, more, and see if the more fans start attending games next year. So it's a start for year one for the Houston school team to be in it. I think we'll be back in Houston. So it's good. Basketball in the summer. I could watch basketball all year long, and if it means more basketball in Fertitta Center in the summertime, I'm all for that too. So it's good. But of course, KP, I will say this publicly. If Tilman Fertitta decided to have a WNBA franchise and chose to have the games played at Fertitta Center, I'd be good with that. I'd have no problem with that, Tilman. So I'm putting it out there in the universe, Tilman. You said, you were quoted in the Chronicle or Chron.com like a month ago now, that you've had thoughts or talks about a WNBA franchise in Houston, and then crickets. So I'm saying it again, Tilman, if you want to bring a WNBA franchise to Houston, I'm all for it. Comet fans are all for it too. They still are. That's one thing. A whole other story. Comet fans do not become Cougar fans. They did not become Rice Owls fans. They love their Comets, and that was it. Summer season, the W ended, and that was it. They did not follow Rice, UH, TSU, nothing. But that's another time for another story. Kennetra Pulliams, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
For sharing your insight and knowledge, and your Olympic knowledge is what I needed, because most of the stuff you told me at the start of the show, I had no clue.
I mean, but the drama in the 100, without Mommy Rocket, it's weird, like the lack of Jamaican representation, so, all of those who were on the medal stand in the last Olympics, none of them made it to the final. So, that was, interesting. But like, I don't know how many of the viewers watched the docuseries Sprint on Netflix, which kind of chronicled track and field in the World Championships. But now they're filming season 2 at this Olympics. So we'll see what storylines come out of there.
You know what the answer to this question? What happened to her?
I hadn't heard. They just said late scratch in the semifinals. She was supposed to be, I think, in lane 4 or lane 5, and she wasn't there. So it's just like,
I remember, Mike, what I wanted to ask you. What are your thoughts on the legal drama between Warner Brothers Discovery and the NBA?
That's above my pay grade. So it's a lot of rich people, throwing money to get.
Do you believe broadcast rights? WBD has a chance to win the case?
I honestly don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know what the legal standings are and how contentious it's going to get.
But that's what I wanted to ask you. Okay. So that'll wrap it up. We almost hit an hour, and in my mind, we're going to go 30 minutes. So kudos to you and the questions from the viewers. Thank you, everyone, for yes. But keep this in mind. This is the start of future FTS shows with KP, Miss Kennetra Pulliams. Willie Gibson I think Willie has prior commitments on Sunday, so we may not have a show tomorrow, but just subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. Click on that bell so you can receive notifications when new shows are posted. But keep this in mind. I believe Adolphus A.D. Moore, the rain delay in Canton, Ohio, kind of pushed back some of AD's plans for a live stream show edition of the AdMax Corner. So that might still happen later on tonight after this edition of FTS. But AD is in Canton. He's shared pictures and a few videos on his platforms and on YouTube, on Twitter. AJ, Andre Johnson, becomes the first Houston Texan to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. AD Moore is there representing the Houston Roundball Review Media Group. So that's a big freaking deal for a little old small Houston Roundball Review to be approved for a credential to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So to that end, I got to be a business person. I got to do a better job of this. So if you want to, and folks, why wouldn't you? If you want to advertise with the Houston Roundball Review, simply email advertise at the HRR.com right there. Of course, there you go. Advertise at some folks say some folks say the HRR.com. And of course, you can follow Folks Talking Sports on the platforms like IG and Threads. Folks Talking Sports, sign up and start following for the content on there. And KP, are you still on that other platform that Mr. Musk owns?
Yes.
So how can folks follow you on Twitter?
On at K Pulliams.
And it's Twitter. So yes, at K Pulliams. All right. I think I can type that up. Let me see if I can very quickly here. At K Pulliams. And I'm even going to be more petty, and I'm going to type Twitter.
I still call it that.
So yes, there you go, right there. Correct. Twitter at K Pulliams, right there. Yes. So take that, person who owns that platform. All right. Thank you for doing this. Thank you very much for agreeing to be part of the Houston Roundball Review Media Group. And at some point, once we blow up and people advertise on this platform and on these shows and everything, I'll be able to, hopefully share the advertising. That's the goal. That's the plan. This is a media group, folks. There's not many, especially small independent platforms that have been credentialed to cover the Hall of Fame, the NFL Big Game, the Final Fours, the CFP. You get the idea.
Right.
Okay. So I'm just saying one more time, advertise at thehrr.com. And of course, Willie Gibson, if you're out there, remember, if Forever Cougs beats Carmen's Crew tomorrow in the TBT title game, you got to buy a Folks Talking Sports mug. If the Cougs lose, you don't have to buy a Folks Talking Sports mug. All right. Thank you very much, Kennetra.
My
Good
pleasure.
to talk to you. Thank you as well. Everybody, you know the deal. Wrapping it up, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Take care. Peace.